For those of you desperate for another sneak peek of THQ's sci-fi themed Alter Echo, we're more than happy to oblige. Things have been shaping up nicely since we first previewed this action title back in issue 40. The animations have been clearly improved, with Nevin's shape-shifting abilities allowing him to quickly switch between three forms: a fast and lethal melee mode, the gun mode's walking tank, and the agile and cunning stealth mode. The nifty time dilation mode is now fully in place too, and allows Nevin to hold time long enough to establish a chain of actions, which can then be unleashed in a devastating combo when time snaps back again. Scheduled for release later this year, Alter Echo will feature around 50 levels, each with different environments, puzzles, and biomechanical beasties.
We'll be back.
While EA snapped up the rights to the Lord of the Rings movies and brought us the spectacular Two Towers, Vivendi Universal settled for the literary rights and delivered a somewhat uneventful Fellowship of the Ring. But The Hobbit is exclusively Vivendi, and EA have no claims on this whatsoever. Based purely on the book as opposed to any Hollywood blockbusting tie-in, The Hobbit is distinctly cartoonish in appearance, with a light-hearted mixture of platforming and adventure that clearly recognises the younger demographic. Assuming the guise of portly Hobbit Bilbo Baggins, your quest for Smaug's treasure sees you wandering through some large-looking environs. Cleverly, enemies like spiders and trolls appear just as they did in the book, but the whole episode is thoughtfully fleshed out in places for a more meaty adventure. The PC SWAT series is finally making the leap to PS2, but the port from PC to console comes with a number of significant changes. Whereas PC SWAT-based outings require methodical strategic planning and clinical execution, Global Strike Team's action-orientated approach is thankfully more lenient, and a simplified control system makes it easier for newcomers to jump straight in. Once you've mastered the art of coordinating your three-man team, you'll find the combat is gripping stuff. And thanks to the same voice-activated headset gimmickry that accompanied rival squad shooter SOCOM, you can dish out the orders directly instead of through the trickier menu system. Hunter: The Reckoning Wayward is the PS2 exclusive to the Hunter series that picks up the previous storylines from Xbox and GameCube versions. Tasked with rescuing the innocent bystanders in a town that's still overrun by evil, Wayward sees the original four hunters return for more straight shoot-'em-up action. The core gameplay mechanics remain unchanged, although the original linear progression is now replaced with a hub system that generates a variety of routes through the game, depending on which order you attempt the levels. Not only does this system provide a portal to the gaming world, it also acts as your personal entertainment system, where you can access a host of unlockable features, including character models, movies, and licensed music tracks. As the sequel to last year's The Two Towers, Return of the King looks equally as spectacular, and hopefully the button-bashing nature won't taint our gaming enjoyment like it did before. All the core Fellowship characters are present, along with some mystery appearances that EA won't yet reveal, and sticking closely to the plot, there'll be multiple destinations and tasks to carry out just like before. Genki's upcoming arcade racer, The Fast and the Furious, is based on the action movie of the same name, and it's set to arrive later this year. Featuring fully licensed vehicles from the likes of Mitsubishi, Mazda and Toyota, the single-player story mode clocks in with around 80 mission-based scenarios, all of which take place on the streets of LA. It's a standard city-based driving affair overall, and while the movie was undeniably dull for an action flick, Genki's arcade interpretation will hopefully be a bit more lively. Midway's gearing up for the release of Spy Hunter 2, and this time we're promised massive new boss battles as a reward for all that hard driving. Your new highly updated Interceptor can transform into a motorbike, a four-wheel drive vehicle and a snowmobile. Plus, each unique transformation comes with its own range of advanced weapons and equipment capabilities. New customization options mean you can tailor your Interceptor to suit your own style of play, and along with new weapons, a whole range of defensive measures like oil slicks, landmines and smoke screens. Prepare for Spy Hunter 2 this autumn. We'll have more when we get it. Appearing on both PC and the aging PS1, the original Broken Sword games combine well-crafted storylines with a cracking selection of brain teasers. And while topping the success of the previous games is always going to be a tall order, Broken Sword: The Sleeping Dragon looks set to give long-standing fans and newcomers a very special game indeed. This third and concluding installment of the series maintains the delicate balance of story and puzzle solving, with gameplay that constantly flips between protagonists George and Nico at the most cliff-hanging moments. The pace of play may not suit everyone, but Broken Sword: The Sleeping Dragon is the perfect example of how a game can keep you hooked throughout. Due for a September release, this one's really worth waiting for. Delving deep into the ancient histories of Egypt, Sphinx in the Shadow of Set drops you in the sandals of young demigod Sphinx and his mummified companion Tutankhamun.
He is powerful. He is a whole new kind of hero.
Tasked with restoring the balance of forces within the magical Egyptian empire, the duo must traverse 7 massive worlds, lush with detail and populated with over 200 inhabitants. While Sphinx takes care of the action exploration side of things, Tutankhamun is more of a sneaking around and solving puzzles type of guy. And like most typical adventure games, there's a mix of light platforming, puzzle solving and action elements. With the likes of Sony's Jak 2 to compete with, it will be intriguing to see how Sphinx will measure up when it finally sees release. Rest assured, we'll let you know.
Sphinx and the Shadow of Set.
Cashing in on the success of Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball on Xbox, those cheeky fellas at Acclaim have rendered the fittest looking babes for a sporty PS2 take on beach volleyball.
That's not so good.
And while they've clearly made an attempt to make Summer Heat Beach Volleyball a proper game, it sadly doesn't quite work. Summer Heat scrimps on the gameplay in favour of presenting full-flesh replays and jiggling bits. If it's beautifully rendered women touching each other in bikinis you're after, then you're in for a treat. But delve beneath the gameplay and Summer Heat Beach Volleyball remains a strictly short-lived arcade experience.
That's yours! Max ball in!
The camera angles make answering a serve frustratingly hit and miss, and the stripped-down control system allows you to play out a match using just one shot. Hidden characters, mini-games, plus full arcade and tournament options are included, but overall it's just not the hard-hitting experience that volleyball should really be. With a group of suitably laddish mates, it could provide some light entertainment for all of 15 minutes, which is why you should probably rent this one rather than buy.
Ball in.
SX Superstar mimics the rise to glory of a supercross biker in what basically amounts to another Jeremy McGrath supercross game, with a touch of lifestyle treatment thrown in for good measure. Choose from a lineup of fictional racers and you're dumped into a rundown apartment that serves as your base of operations. From here you can do all the usual story mode stuff, like selecting races from your calendar, keeping an eye on your finances, and checking your answering machine for messages.
Hi, it's Lee, your agent here. Hope you're settling in okay to the apartment I've sorted out for you.
As far as the racing itself goes, controlling your dirt bike monster is definitely on the arcade side. Controls work in the exact same manner as the previous McGrath games, with the charge button ensuring the best possible jumps and 2 buttons for performing the tricks. And while the stunts themselves aren't much cop, sliding around the mountain slopes in the off-road waypoint-based races provides a brief glimpse of entertainment. The PS2 lacks a true definitive supercross game, and this doesn't help change the situation. It's far from being downright terrible, but it's just not that much fun to play. Mace Griffin is refreshingly different from your average first-person shooter, and there's no denying it looks sharp. But in a crowded genre like this, can it really capture the public's imagination? Mace belongs to a highly skilled group of rangers, set up to deal with the lowlife and other assorted troublemakers draining the new worlds of valuable resources. But the work of an unknown traitor soon brings this elite group to an end. Mace is wrongly accused and becomes a bounty hunter to discover the truth behind this treachery. Forget the predictable framed-for-murder plot for just a moment and gorge yourself on this world full of aliens, where you're free to go exactly where you choose with a seamless loading system that really sets you free. One moment you're fighting through a huge space station with an arsenal of nifty weapons, the next you've made your escape in a small ship and are heading out into space. And all without the mandatory 10-second pause that occurs when switching between environments. All the action is mission-based and geared around the eventful delivery of revenge. The bounty hunting bit has you taking on plenty of different tasks as you explore the seamless locations. But there really is no hurry, and it's possible to just muck about in true Grand Theft Auto style. grab yourself a ship, fly off and maybe shoot some stuff along the way. You'll be amazed at the level of detail. For example, shoot out the windows of attacking ships and you're able to see the pilot. The whole thing oozes atmosphere. Something has gone very right with Mace Griffin. You'll want this one badly. Before you ask, no, this isn't any kind of contrived adventure based on the events of the upcoming film. But even without the big screen backup, the Hulk is still surprisingly fun throughout. One of the main reasons for this is Hulk's solid fighting engine and the excellent range of destructible scenery. You really can tear the place apart, smashing through walls, throwing cars into groups of unsuspecting guards, and waving around concrete posts like a baseball bat. Once the raw destructive quality wears thin, you can't help feeling that the Hulk is somewhat short on substance. It's not that we don't enjoy it, but the lack of standard moves, repetitive brawling, and limited range of enemies puts a downer on the big guy's adventure. From time to time, you'll be forced to creep around as Hulk's alter ego, Bruce Banner, in a number of stealth-based scenarios. Whilst this presents a welcome break amongst the 30-odd face-pounding levels, it does feel somewhat predictable in places, with puzzle-based switch-pulling and the odd amount of block pushing. Perhaps by way of compensation for these failings, there are plenty of extra features to be plundered. Cheat modes, bonus footage from the film, and a super secret game mode which we haven't uncovered yet, as this can only be unlocked by inputting codes given away in the film, or so we're led to believe. The Hulkster may be content light overall, but you'll certainly have a blast getting through it. Definitely worth a purchase if you're a fan of comic-based heroes, and much better than X-Men 2 Wolverine's Revenge by far. It plays well and the graphics are well suited to the game, but ultimately it's not the Hulk experience we know it could have been. In the ever-changing world of the beat-em-up, Dynasty Warriors is going a bit stale. Excluding the Extreme Legends spin-off, this is the third game on the system, and it's still the same old characters, battles, and legendary flannel about the romance of Three Kingdoms. The games have slowly evolved over the years, and while this fourth outing is still hampered by the same basic scrolling beat-em-up approach, it undeniably looks and plays the best in the series. You can now choose which general you want to lead your army, allowing for different missions depending on who you pick. There are more enemies, the attacks are more varied than Dynasty Warriors 3, and the all-new duel mode for one-on-one battles is great fun too. And the true Muso moves look spectacular as ever, with the camera spinning around your position dramatically before all hell is unleashed on the battlefield.
Forward!
While there's nothing revolutionary to be found here, it's all harmless historical fun, and fans of the series will certainly approve. There are tons of characters to choose from, including the 3 new additions, and the wealth of game modes provides excellent replay value. But we can't help thinking that KOE should perhaps rethink the series and help it mature a little. Unsurprisingly, and let's be completely honest here right from the start, Die Hard Vendetta's not really all it's cracked up to be.
You okay?
Thanks. They were gonna kill me.
It may have a cool license to one of Hollywood's best action movie heroes of all time, but that's about all it's got going for it. The plot revolves around Piet Gruber, son of original Die Hard villain Hans Gruber, who's in LA to wreak havoc and mess with McClane's fledgling cop daughter. There's no Bruce lookalike for starters, as his likeness was judged too expensive for inclusion in the cutscenes, and the whole game is played out through first person. So when it comes to knocking out terrorists hand-to-hand styly, all you see is a pair of fists flailing about in front of you.
Don't shoot me!
Unlike most shooters, you can chat to the other characters, and you're even marked on your level of interaction overall, which amounts to nothing more than pressing X in front of the characters and listening. If you're lucky, they give you valuable clues, but most of the time they just talk rubbish.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, very clever. You can tell Fat Larry I bagged this bad guy.
I read you. Send over a van.
Whilst this fails to advance the overall action, it does add a movie-like feel to the proceedings. An element enhanced further by the inclusion of set-piece action moments, which feel rewarding the first time you play them, but having to plow through them again if you die quickly becomes rather dull. When McClane holds his gun pointing up, you're engaged in stealth mode, and you can creep around in relative safety without anyone seeing you. Annoyingly though, the game decides when stealth is needed and when it's not. There are times when you'll automatically fail in a shootout because the game requires you to sneak around. And while you can sneak up on your bog standard generic enemy, there's too many occasions when the game makes sure people notice you in time for a set piece. This may sound a bit harsh for what's essentially a half-decent stab-at-a-shooter with a possible multiplayer mode, but the trouble is, everything we loved about the Die Hard movie you don't get here, which begs the question, why even bother making a Die Hard game in the first place?
Please don't. You gotta help me.
Now get the hell out of here.
Don't worry. I'm going.
I warned him I was having a bad day.
Despite any cracks you could make about the sport of snooker, 7 million people stayed up until the bitter end at 1 AM to watch this year's Embassy World Championship Finals. When it beats football, people sit up and take notice, which is great news for Codemasters. Trying to improve on the superiority of last year's title, this update is an understated version of what happens with certain football games every year. Players are more accurately modelled with an increase in polygons, meaning more lifelike expressions as they concentrate to aim. There'll be at least 3 different camera angles which will move around to create the television coverage atmosphere, but you'll influence it when playing as opposed to the totally passive version you watch every year. You'll also find 2 sets of pool games to play, providing genuine value. Both British and American versions are included and play just as well as the snooker. Codemasters' long-standing reputation for great physics in their driving games has helped once again with this game, where the exact pattern must be worked out over a small static area, but also in time with the cameras. The accurate recreation is all well and good, except for the fact that hardcore snooker enthusiasts might prefer to go out to play the real thing in established snooker halls rather than sit in front of their TVs to play. However, the same argument could be applied to football, and FIFA just keeps on selling, so Codemasters currently has the field to itself and has represented the sport as well as can be. The accurate recreation is all well and good, there's tons of extras, and Codemasters have no trouble representing the tension and sense of occasion of a real snooker championship. But unless you're completely snooker loopy, you won't get much more out of this than the previous PS2 title, World Championship Snooker 2002.
Welcome to the world of iToy. Now you're probably raring to get going with it, but if you haven't played games using iToy before, there are just a few things you'll need to know to help you get the most fun out of it.
iToy is simple enough for your granny to understand. Sony's latest gimmick slots happily into your PS2's USB port and sits on top of your telly. Stand in front of it and you appear on the TV screen with PS2 graphics laid over, and thanks to some clever programming, the graphics on screen can react to your movements. You'll certainly be surprised at the speed and accuracy of the motion capture and by how successfully the whole thing works. You'll need to move as quickly as you can in many of the games, and it never lags or slows down.
You need to make sure your image is in the center of the screen. If it is not, gently tilt the camera up or down until it is. There's no need to move the whole camera. If you're a little blurry, you can adjust the focus by rotating the dial on the camera.
Each of the 12 mini-games has its own host in the form of a quirky cartoon kid who'll give you help, congratulate you when you win, and take the proverbial when you lose.
It's not much fun playing with you.
Each game works on a timer to ensure even expert players can't hold the console. Although if you're rubbish, you'll finish early. We're not convinced by some of the games, but that's the nature of party titles, something for everyone. Plate spinning wasn't that much fun, even with the addition of cheeky-looking monkeys that shimmy up the poles and jump onto the plates. But it's more than made up for by the sheer wacky audacity of some of the other challenges.
You should see them villain too. You'd be surprised at things they do. When I'm cleaning windows in my...
If there's one toy that must be giving Sony hope, it must surely be the dance mat, with sales of PS1 going through the roof and the first dancing stage game for PS2 out soon. The craze is sweeping the nation. Whether you're a hyperactive teen, hardcore party person, or simply anyone out for a bit of fun, we urge you to try this in the name of fun.
You have the engine! Great work! You surprised us all, and pleasantly this time.
Now let's roll.
Shotgun.
While not as universally popular as The Simpsons, Matt Groening's Futurama is equally as hip and hilarious, and now it's spawned a suitably warped video game to match.
Yes! Riches!
Evil businesswoman Mom has snapped up Planet Express deliveries from Professor Farnsworth, and in doing so becomes the ruler of Earth. Enslaving mankind, she transforms the entire planet into a massive warship and sets about conquering the universe in one foul swoop. In a mission to lead the Planet Express crew back in time and stop the sale, you start out as Fry. Later on in the proceedings, Bender and Leela will each take a turn, with Dr. Zoidberg stepping in at the last. But whoever you're controlling, the basic idea is to jump around whilst collecting things, pulling levers and shooting stuff. Which doesn't sound so bad, until you realise that the character handling is a touch on the awkward side, and the camera system does not perform well in tight corners. Basically, all your worst platforming nightmares rolled into one. Still, there's the added bonus that everything looks and sounds just like the TV show. To break up all that jumping from platform to platform, you can run around firing indiscriminately in one of many shooting scenarios. The combat is pretty weak to start with, but livens up a little when you bag the more powerful weapons. Almost as entertaining as the game itself are the selection of cutscenes.
Hey, that beam looks like it's about to give way.
Penned by screenwriters from the show, these clips are amusing and brilliantly drawn, but we could certainly do with a few more of them to help link the levels together. Most of the time there's only one route through anyhow, it's just that a little extra incentive wouldn't go amiss. Futurama is every bit as charming as the TV show. There's nothing terribly wrong here overall, and fans of the series are certain to enjoy it. But if you've no interest in Matt Groening's cartoon adventure, then it's all style over substance, and there's nothing incredibly new here to get excited about.
Farewell, big blue ball of idiots!
When a game boasts a hard-as-nails cop by the name of Jack Slate, you kind of know what to expect.
Clowns with guns? I'll be having nightmares about this for months.
Cops on the edge, revenge-seeking criminals, seedy strip bars, and prison shootouts. It's all in here with a bloodthirsty body count to match. Our hero Jack is far from happy. His father's dead, the local big-time criminal organisation wants to kill him, and to make matters worse, he's banged up for a crime he didn't commit. Each level is packed with bins, cars, tables, and other assorted items to hide behind, and much of the action consists of stepping out from cover, shooting, then ducking back again. There's an impressive stash of weaponry to play with as well. And to make things a bit easier, Dead to Rights features a clever auto-aim system that not only locks you onto the enemy, but also helpfully indicates how likely you are to hit them as well.
I gotta get to the evidence room before Hennessy gets back. Radio's in the dispatch cage and in the black and whites.
But the real weapon of choice is Shadow, Jack's canine partner. Lock your sights on an enemy, hit the attack button, and Shadow will go fetch both his weapon and his freshly ripped out throat. Originality isn't Dead to Rights' strong point. The obligatory slow-motion dive steps into Max Payne territory, but just look at those geriatric graphics. Quite frankly, we've seen better-looking PS1 games. In short, Dead to Rights is an extremely violent game, almost to the point of being distasteful. And if you're still reeling from the morally outrageous Vice City, then avoid this game like the plague. But for those of you who enjoy a good gun-toting romp, this hefty dose of point-blank headshots and cold-blooded killing will be much appreciated. Interactive take a break from the Hitman franchise and go to America. However, it's a very different America in which the nightmare of the film Red Dawn comes true, and America's under the thumb of the Soviets. New York's been conquered and the Russians plan to spread across the country until plumber Christopher Walker decides he's had enough when his brother is kidnapped and leads a force of freedom fighters to kick the Ruskies out of town and country. What he doesn't know, but of course you do, is that you may end up saving America as a whole. There'll be 19 campaigns where you have to win the popularity of the people so they will naturally gravitate to your cause, and once they're on your side, a maximum of 12 can be deployed. Of course, lowering the limit means there'll be some times when only the sniper or the demolition expert will do. Both the enemy and your CPU-controlled allies' AI is being tweaked, but already they can dodge, roll, cover attack, and defend with ease. Games like Soldiers of Liberty live or die on their AI. In that case, it's a good sign that the simplified control system only intends to use 3 buttons for all orders. It's a clever, if cynical, trick from Electronic Arts to tap into 1980s retro and mix liberally with the newly increased patriotism since September 11th, but one which will probably spell big sales. It's shaping up to be a good game, but in the end, having to hoist the stars and stripes in every level may become stomach-turning to players outside of America. Jingoism aside, if the multiplayer doesn't reach beyond the multi-tap or split screen on a single PS2 and go online, EA will have crippled a potential classic. Developer Rebellion have done a tidy job with Judge Dredd: Dredd vs. Death, transforming the comically violent nature of Dredd into a first-person shooter, taking on Judge Death and the rest of the apocalyptic gang. But the plot's still a closely guarded secret for the time being, and details are thin on the ground. Warthog's upcoming space shooter is based on the classic Battlestar Galactica sci-fi series we know and love. Assuming the role of the young space buck Adama, you'll be assigned to the Galactica and thrown into battle against those pesky Cylons and their evil imperious leader. The chances of Adama sporting a 70s feathered hairdo and disco-style clothing are highly unlikely, but hopefully Battlestar Galactica will enjoy greater success than the ill-fated TV show. We'll let you know soon enough.
Helen, it's Janet. I've just picked up an injured man on Brighton Beach. He's got no ID and can't remember a thing. I need to bring him in for a CAT scan as soon as possible. An hour? Perfect. We're on our way. How are you feeling? Still no memory? I found this key in your pocket. Ever heard of Winslow Bank?
In spite of heavyweight sequels for Deus Ex and James Bond in the first-person shooters department due in the autumn, there was still concern about the sheer flood of 3D action and whether stagnation was creeping in. 13 shows that graphical innovation can still make an impact by licensing the look of a French cel-shaded graphic novel and then making the pictures come alive.
Plug in the fuse and start this heap. Let's blow this popsicle stand.
It begins much like recent Hollywood movie The Bourne Identity, with a mysterious man washing up on a beach with the key to a safe deposit box and the Roman numeral for 13 tattooed on his clavicle. Then mixes into Total Recall as he remembers nothing and no one but is attacked by most of the people he meets anyway. He must piece together a wider conspiracy, his pre-amnesiac part in the whole campaign, and find out what that key opens. All set in the graphic novel's game world with action captions. In spite of the game content sounding hackneyed, the execution of the graphics, powered by a rewritten Unreal Engine, make 13 one to watch out for, as long as it can carry off its well-worn storyline, with the same slick presentation as the rest of the game. However, the weapon variety won't be in question. As you can pick up objects such as chairs and ashtrays, combining the blunt instruments with the more conventional weapons makes an arsenal of 50 different ways to tackle the enemy, including the crossbow. All this hardware doesn't mean there'll be times when you need to sneak about. A cooperative multiplayer mode is planned to sit alongside the standard deathmatch and capture the flag modes. It's a title to watch, and with no immediate version of Half-Life 2 on PS2, it has a chance to make its mark in October 2003.
They're back! Watch out! Get down! The cable's gonna snap! I'll go down first and create a diversion. Cover me!
Yeah, I'm a big faker. I'm not from England, I'm from Northern California. And I did a lot of stage before I came to Los Angeles, so stage actors can do pretty much any accent that they could get paid for. So the European accents I can do well. Asian accents I don't know about. But yeah, big faker. I've had 7 years to kind of perfect this accent, so it's gotten a little better. Watch the first episodes, though, if you want to laugh.
Yes, Spike's journey on the show has been a long one. You know, he started as a kind of a 2.5 dimensional villain, and they never would have decided to build me up so far and make me so cool if they'd have known I would be living past 5 episodes. But there was something which was kind of mysterious about Spike, which was that he was a psychopathic killer who really enjoyed hurting people, but he was also a completely attentive boyfriend, very sensitive, which you don't normally see. And I think that it was that contrast that initially got people interested, and explaining that contrast is what we've been doing ever since. Why Spike has this incredible draw towards women and this incredible need to please them. There's a weakness there that Joss recognized that I didn't. And as he explored it, I became more and more uncomfortable because I thought he was starting to reveal things about me. But ever since he got brought on as a permanent member of the show in season 4, it's been about taking Spike down all pegs. They built him up so far, they've been humanizing him and embarrassing and humiliating him. And I used to think that was I thought I was Job. You know, what character am I playing anymore? But then I realized it's when Joss and Marty really love your character that you get humiliated. So when the oatmeal gets dumped on your head, that's when they're saying, you know, we love you.
the sequel to last year's Suburban Girl smash now confirmed, Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds delivers a cast of well-to-do TV favourites and a backdrop that's hotly rumoured to be the lost episode from Season 5. The game itself is spread across several large chapters, with each chapter being played out from the point of view of one of the 5 playable protagonists. Naturally, each character has their own range of skills and moves. Buffy specializes in hand-to-hand combat, as does Spike, while Willow has a range of spells on offer. And it's entertaining to see the way the story forces you to switch between them. Stakes are essential for dealing with the vampires, but they're not the only weapons on the menu. Swords, battle axes, crossbows, holy water, and even the more mundane objects such as garden spades can be picked up and swung about. Puzzles are the order of the day here too, and on more than one occasion you'll have to use your noodle a bit. Combine this with heaps of combat and the more traditional pursuits of jumping about and ledge climbing, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds looks like being a pretty complete package. Graphically, it looks spot on, plays solidly enough, and with genuine voiceovers by cast members and a host of bonus features, Chaos Bleeds could well turn out to be every Buffy fanatic's wildest dream come true.
It's turned me into a megalomaniac, this whole show, and the game is only going to make it worse. I'm amazed by how much the games look like the show and how much they've tried to keep the integrity of the show. That's really important to me. So it's really fun to play or to watch people who can actually live for 5 minutes play and see that that's where I've lived for 7 years. I know that place. I know those guys. I mean, it does make me proud, not that we struck a chord with people, because although that's nice, that's kind of a crapshoot. You sort of have to hit the zeitgeist. You sort of have to, be the right guy at the right time, and you can't really take all the credit for that. But we worked really hard all the time to make the show good. That I'm proud of. Humbling it is because the show is bigger than me. It's bigger than the show now. It's a game. It's books. It's so many things. And when people get really passionate about it, they're getting something that I get really passionate about, because it isn't me, it's something, and it isn't even just something I've created, and that's not even just because there are other people involved, writers and actors and all that stuff. It's just when a thing is art, it separates itself from the people making it and becomes bigger than they are, and that is both humbling and extraordinary. The next level for the Buffy games is going to be big Nerf hands that you can hit each other with. But then again, I don't really know much about games.
Given that Return to Castle Wolfenstein has been out on PC for almost 2 years now, Operation Resurrection is, for all intents and purposes, a straight port of the hit PC shooter.
You wanted to see me, Major?
Captain Blazkowicz,
Come in.
Of course, there are some exclusive changes to be. Wolfenstein has opened its doors to PS2, many of which fall in the storyline department. The PC version kicked off with all-American hero B.J. Blazkowicz incinerated deep within the bowels of Wolfenstein, and the barbecued Agent 1 smouldering nicely on the electric table.
He'll brief you on your mission and new orders.
Welcome aboard, Captain. We don't have much time for introductions right now. We've got transport waiting to take us into Northern Egypt.
In Operation Resurrection, you have 7 whole new levels where you meet Agent 1 and witness his fate in a major prequel section. Starting in the back streets of Egypt, BJ heads off in search of a Nazi archaeological dig, where you run into a tomb full of mummies before making your escape and crash landing in rural Germany. The addition of this section pushes the Wolfenstein challenge to over 20 hours of gameplay. But given that for many people it's the first impression they're likely to get from Castle Wolfenstein, it's sadly the weakest section of the game, when in theory it should be the highlight of the PS2 package. Compare these opening levels against the main game itself, and you could be forgiven for thinking you were looking at 2 different games. There's no atmosphere for starters. The impending sense of doom that lurks around every chilling corner of Castle Wolfenstein proper appears to have been misplaced, along with the eerie sound effects and the horrific lineup of animated corpses. But it won't take you long to finish this exclusive campaign, and it all gets much better once you venture into Castle Wolfenstein proper. Castle Wolfenstein is split into 6 fairly long campaigns. The opening Egyptian campaign is followed with BJ's escape from Wolfenstein through to a raid on Himmler's secret laboratory, among others. Thankfully, the impressive level design and vast amounts of enemies on offer more than make up for the repetitive nature of the mission objectives. Traipsing from one point to the next, smashing up radios, pulling switches, shooting at the meddling Nazis, essentially it's the same thing over and over. And there's an abundance of secrets to discover too, cunningly hidden away behind collapsing walls, secret buttons and picture frames. It's enough to keep all but the most hardened of first-person shooters going for quite some time, and the more secret areas you find, the more points you'll receive to spend on upgrading your character's abilities for the tougher later levels. As entertaining as it is, Operation Resurrection lacks that certain sparkle. The detailed environments and characters are certainly impressive, but there's no explosive brilliance that we've come to expect from games such as Red Faction 2. And the overall thrill pales in comparison to the superb Medal of Honor. It's fair to say that Wolfie on PS2 is no showstopper. Accept this fact, and there's a reasonably lengthy and thoroughly entertaining single-player adventure to be had once you've breathed through the disappointing first campaign. It's hardly an essential purchase, but it could have been much worse. Rally 3 was undeniably the most hardcore of rallying beasts. But for the Flying Scotsman's 4th and latest outing, Codemasters have opted for a game structure reminiscent of Colin McRae Rally 2. And it doesn't take long to notice the differences. Instead of being tied to one specific team, you'll be able to select cars and drivers from the off, as well as being able to play different courses and even individual stages. There's a whole garage full of new features, including updated courses and new car part testing challenges, where you can unlock shiny new parts for your motor. These are undoubtedly the highlight of the new career mode, and task you with such events as hammering the suspension through a particularly bumpy section or balancing the rev meter through a timed lap.
30 long, 6 left, tightens. Into 5 right over crest. Open hairpin right.
The overall challenge is much harder too. While the cars are certainly less responsive than before, they feel much more solid, particularly when you're sliding them into hairpin bends at law-breaking speeds.
Into long 4 right, tight 3. 30k, big jump. And 6 left into long 4 right.
The cars have been polished up too, now looking every bit as good as they feel. Work also appears to have been carried out on the damage modelling, which can be applied in 3 stages depending on how bad you are at driving. The sequel clearly sports better graphics than ever before, with heavy amounts of work going into the trackside detailing, and the whole thing runs as smoothly as ever. Codemasters are obviously keen to impress with this one.
left gravel, 36 crest, 50, turn hairpin right. And long 6 left, 50. 2 right onto ice. And 2 left. 56 left into 3 left tight to 2 over crest onto ice. And long 6 right. And 6 left into 2 right. Into 3 left, straight 70. And 6 right, 100. Turn 3 left at trees. And 6 crest 50. Turn 2 right at poles. 100. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Into 6 left 50. 6 left over crest, don't cut. And care 6 right, don't cut. And 6 left over jump. Into 6 left and right. Into crest and long 5 right, tightens. And 4 left over jump. And 6 right into 3 left, opens long. And care 3 right, don't cut. 50. Keep left over crest and 5 right, don't cut. 30. 5 left over jump. And 5 right, cut. And 6 left, into jump, 50, 6 left, and 5 right. Turn 6 right, 50, 6 left and jump. And 5 right over bump, into bumps, and 6 left over crest. Into long 6 right, tightens trees outside. 6 right over jump, 30, care 2 left, ditch outside. Into long 6 right. And turn 3 left. 100. Long 6 right, into care 3 left over crest.
Lara's back, and Core have finally delivered her first PS2 adventure after months of worrying delay. Framed for the murder of her old mentor Bon Croy, Lara's on the run while trying to find out the secret of the Cabal, an evil type intent on raising an ancient race of biblical crazies. Of course, this all translates into sneaking past guards, shimmying about to collect mystical items, and gunning down a variety of paranormal foes. Darkness will hopefully provide a more cerebral, adventure-based experience than before, and there are some all-new stealth elements to get excited about too. But can Lara conjure up the jaw-dropping magic of her first PS1 adventure? Our official hype-free verdict can be found on page 84 of this month's issue, sublimely complemented with this 6-minute exclusive video of Miss Croft doing her thing.
information that we can share at this point. However, if we do decide to go online, all out, as you're probably expecting, the maximum head count per competition, for instance, would be 6. His interests are more towards using the online facility to somehow create an environment in which players or users of GT will be able to communicate their thoughts or opinions or knowledge of cars. Technically, we can do a lot, like for instance, trading cars. Technologically, it's possible. It's just a matter of deciding how to do it and if we really want to. It's another. So we're still in the midst. In terms of the iLink, compatibility will be the same as in GT3, where maximum hookup, in terms of technically speaking, you can hook up 8, where 6 are used for the competition, and 2 you can do like a real-time replay of the actual race going on. Okay, so in terms of damage, the rumor is false. We are not planning to include visual damage to the car, dents, broken lenses, things like that. No, we're not doing that. Maybe we're considering, again, the car will not be demolished, but for instance, the Grand Canyon course, cars run along the cliff. If they miss the course, we might have an effect showing the car falling off the cliff, but we won't show it hitting the bottom. Okay. Hoping to include some kind of a penalty system for players who enter corners without hitting the side of the corner and trying to do turns. We've seen a lot of that happen. If you've ever participated in motorsports, it's totally against the rules, hitting opponents to turn and stuff like that. So we're hoping to come up with a penalizing system for players who may do that. Our concept for GT4 will be for the title to be almost like a theme park for cars. What this means is to try to convey the message of the excitement behind lifestyles and cars that people have in their life. So GT4 will not just be about racing and time attack and that sort of touch. We'll hope to include more aspects of simply enjoying cars. Hope to be able to provide some kind of a selection of drivers for players to choose from. Choose and helmet, and ball, and shoes.
James Bond. But I'd wager you already knew that.
New girls, great gadgets, and hopefully some improved driving sections. James Bond 007 Everything or Nothing embraces an all-new look, favouring third-person action as opposed to first-person shooter. Expect a cracking new Bond storyline when this hopefully arrives in November. Medal of Honor is the best PS2 shooter by a clean mile, and with the emphasis firmly on stealth for the sequel Rising Sun, camouflage and tactics will ultimately rule the day. The on-rail shootouts make a welcome return, and there's an all-new 4-way multiplayer mode to wet your pants over too. We can't wait.
which will live.
Oh yeah, I dig this flavor! Dispensing with a journey across the globe and all the worldly hotspots that go with it, SSX3 Out of Bounds dumps you on one large mountain with the steepest piste imaginable.
Yeah, man, I conquered this sucker!
3 peaks make up the mother of all mountains, broken up into circuit-sized installments. And not only does SXX3 promise to be a top-notch sequel to SXX Tricky, it's a prime candidate for Game of the Year.
Yeah, this is the top of the world right here.
EA Games.
Challenge everything.
The battle for Helm's Deep is over. The battle for Middle Earth is about to begin.
Slick controls and great animations made Tiger Woods 2003 the best golf game to ever appear on a console.
EA Sports, take it from G, it's TW's court. His vision, his green, Tiger Woods, man, golf club in hand, it's hard to understand.
And with a host of yearly updates to the 2004 edition, this will undoubtedly keep you busy for months. Offering more fictional and real-world courses, plus an additional roster of PGA pros, Tiger's dominance looks set to continue. Amongst the avalanche of this month's announcements comes Need for Speed Underground.
Go to Cedar, stash in a dash, hold two heaters, block eye, put holes through beaters, ghetto fast, go through cheaters.
The seedy world of underground street racing is about to be prized open as you compete against the fastest racers around. And EA claims that 100 unique racing events will be available when it finally arrives in early 2004. 2 teams of 7 broomstick flying players, 4 balls in constant play, and of course the elusive golden snitch. The glorious game that Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup is the favoured sport of witches and wizards, and due to arrive later this year.
Let's play a little game, shall we?
This is the one y'all been waiting for!
Who goes there? What was that noise?
I must be going mad.
What was that noise?
I must be going mad.
No-hander! Double can!
EA Sports. It's in the game.
fatto, tiro così!
EA Sports.
Now who got game when it comes to this basketball? Facing one opponent that's over 6 feet tall. Can you shoot a three-pointer? Can you do the finger roll? Can you toss it but drop it down and then take it to the hole? Can you break ankles and shake them up? Take the ball behind your back and straight lay it up. Stand at the 3-point line and kinda jay it up. You got to show them skills to NBA it up. Shoot down, you got to hoop it up. Alley hoop it up. And when the ball is loose, see how fast you can scoop it up. Have your game face on. I hope you're quick on your feet. Playing hard. Taking NBA to the streets.
You can see it, you can ride it. Freestyle Metal Rings.
Yeah, that was awesome!
Welcome to Freaky Flyers!
Jumping in a freaky flying plane. It's more than just a game. It's time for Brady's Zany. Get totally insane in the freaky flying game.
Welcome to Freaky Flyers, the first and only Fast and Furious fully open 3D airplane racing adventure that drops you into the cockpits of the most unique and engaging cast of characters to ever explore, adventure, and dogfight in the video game skies. Visit exciting locales. Explore completely open and interactive 3D environments. Interact with 13 outrageous characters with loads of jokes and visual humor. Experience the thrills of dangerous aerial stunts with skill-oriented stunt flying. Unleash your inner warrior in competitive aerial dogfighting combat. Challenge other players in head-to-head mode with Freaky Flyers' multiplayer capabilities. Freaky Flyers, the first and only Fast and Furious fully open 3D airplane racing adventure.
NHL Hits Pro.
Some people have a knack for being in the right place at the right time. John McClane has a knack for being in the wrong place at the right time.
McClane?
Don't try to stop me, Al.
I was just gonna wish you luck.
The reason why we made Die Hard, we already had a relationship with 20th Century Fox. And we were talking to them about the various licenses they had and what projects we could work on. And we came to the conclusion that Die Hard was something that really excited us. We're huge fans of the film. The game already existed on previous Die Hard films that did very well. But we just love the film, and we think even though it's a 14-year-old franchise potentially, it's something that people always know. They still use the one-liners from the film. Everybody remembers the films. It's a classic. If you are a hardcore gamer, there's enough in here that's new controls, new scenarios, new puzzles, new ideas of gameplay that will keep you entertained and give you something different from a lot of games out there.
We wanted to have a very strong lead character for the player to relate to and associate with. And we were working with our publisher, who's 20th Century Fox, and they obviously had numerous licenses available to them. And one of them was Die Hard. Now, Die Hard is, to everyone, one of the all-time classic action films. It's one of the films that, even though it came out in '88, it's 20 years old or 15 years old, it actually hasn't dated. If you look at it tomorrow, it's got everything you want from an action film. Great set pieces, fantastic tension, brilliant dialogue, but also it's got one of the all-time classic heroes or anti-heroes in John McClane. And that was a very exciting character for us to try and translate into a video game. You get an attitude, you get someone who you can relate to. He's not Superman. He's not some character who can take out an army on his own. He's an everyday man who's a bit grumpy, a bit pissed off, which again makes him more human, but also is very determined. And the challenge for us was to translate that into a video game. When we began making Die Hard Vendetta, the first thing we concentrated on was the story that the game was going to tell. It was very important to us to do the other films justice. As you get a certain expectation when you're told you're going to be playing a Die Hard game or you're going to see a Die Hard film. And we wanted to make sure that we lived up to those expectations. So we started focusing on what the story for Die Hard Vendetta would be. With the Die Hard films, there are certain things you'll get with them with regards to snappy dialogue, big set pieces, plot twists, and we wanted to incorporate all of these things into the story for the game. With that, we wanted to allow the player to be able to do things that you hadn't been able to do before. First and foremost, you run around and you shoot things as is standard. But with the character of John McClane, we realized that a lot of what he does is creeping around. It's not just going in guns blazing. One of the first things we realized was we wanted to put in a stealth mode, which allowed the player to creep up on terrorist mercenaries. So we introduced the stealth mechanic, which meant that you'd move around slowly, but you had a better chance of avoiding confrontation as opposed to every time coming in and having to shoot your way out of problems. Another thing that we wanted to do with the player was allow them the ability to interact with the world more than had been achieved before. And either that would be through talking to other characters in the world, in the game world. One of the mechanics we've got is physically grabbing another person in the world. And that opened up a whole area of gameplay mechanics that hadn't been tapped into before. If he grabs the correct person, he can disarm a whole group of mercenaries. By taking out the commander, there's a chain of hierarchy, chain of command, and his henchmen will stand down. So this, coupled with the stealth aspect of the game, meant that the player had an alternative approach to dealing with all of these situations. We wanted to allow the player to have more flexibility in what they chose to do. One aspect of that was allowing the player to jump around as opposed to constantly being tied to the ground. One of the mechanics problems that you have with that is if you're jumping, you don't want to constantly having to be look at your feet and see where the edge is before you perform a jump, because that's actually very frustrating for the player. So what we did was we came up with the mechanic of an auto jump, where if you ran at an edge, McClane would automatically leap. You want to keep the game flowing for the player, and the enjoyment comes out of making the jump as opposed to being in the right place to perform the jump. So again, it freed up the player to perform new actions in first person. The benefits of working in video games is we can actually create and model things that you can't really do in real life. Or if you were to do them in real life, it would cost millions and millions of pounds. So for instance, what you expect from the Die Hard film is large explosions, buildings being destroyed. We had a lot of fun in being able to do that because we could create these set pieces of mass destruction at a fraction of the cost to actually doing them in real life. And what is great for the player's point of view is they can cause this destruction, but they don't have to pay for it.
The legendary R-Type series made its first arcade appearance well over a decade ago, and has since been ported to a variety of gaming platforms. R-Type Delta was the last PS1 incarnation, which sadly flopped in terms of sales. And with the poor reception of the more recent 2D scrollers like Contra, you might well question the reasoning behind a PS2 makeover. For those of you familiar with the genius of R-Type and its punishing level of difficulty, you'll be pleased to hear that R-Type Final is still one of the most gorgeous 2D offerings with Type and the scrolling environments and enemies are amazingly detailed, and there's a wealth of little touches that just make the game a joy to behold. And R-Type Final offers an entire history of playable ships, with customizable features increasing the play value immensely. Pleasing as all this presentation is, it's the gameplay that really satisfies. Sega's Virtual On series has slowly gathered a cult following since its arcade debut way back in 1995. Since then, it's appeared on the Saturn Netlink device, and there was even a sequel on Dreamcast, but can it survive the transition to PS2? The unique dual-action joysticks from the arcade version and the hideously expensive Sega limited editions are one reason for Virtual On's popularity. For the humble PS2 version, however, you can either choose the twin analog stick method, which mimics the classic arcade setup, or you can opt for the lazier button configuration, which does half the work for you. Either way, the exclusion of the hefty add-ons thankfully keep Virtual On Mars within the standard price range. Dispensing with the traditional arcade-style versus mode, Virtual On Mars offers dramatic mode, in which you will have to complete a variety of different missions, all of which are based around the typical Japanese themes of giant mechanical robots bashing each other about. Collecting CDs along the way rewards you with health recharges before the next violent encounter, and occasionally you'll discover a new mech to play with. There are dozens to discover, handy if your current model's too damaged to continue as the game progresses. there's no online component as in previous versions, Virtual on Mars has a somewhat limited appeal. However, considering the fledgling state of Sony's online network at present, the content may change in translation. So watch out for our full review later in the year.
In times of great peril, the world must call upon the services of a singular individual.
Welcome to the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I'm waiting to be impressed.
The greatest adventurer who ever lived has been recruited to find a madman.
He's called the Phantom. To stop him, you must lead a team like nothing the world has seen. Thanks. Eyes open, boy. Can't protect you all the time.
Dr. Jekyll, at your service.
Cheers.
Extraordinary gentlemen indeed.
And women.
Our transportation has arrived.
You have 4 days, and the game is on.
This year.
So what are we dealing with? Unstoppable assassins.
Eyes open, boy. Can't protect you all the time.
They're indestructible!
20th Century Fox invites you
Take the wheel!
to discover an adventure
I don't know how to drive this thing!
in a league of its own.
Surface!
Sean Connery.
I doubt you measure danger the way I do.
The League.
That was naughty.
When you want to get hitched, if you keep putting this off, 15 or 20 years, I'm just going to stop asking.
I love you.
You know, you were with the right man.
Your wife. She's dead.
Can I help you?
We're looking for Dr. Chris Kelvin.
The Solaris mission is in jeopardy. Hi, Chris. I still have a little time, and I want to warn you. I didn't lose my mind.
Why not send in the security force?
We did. He's a friend of yours. We feel confident that if you can manage to board the ship, you can negotiate their safe return.
What's happening here? Whose blood is that?
I could tell you what's happening, but I don't know if I'd really tell you what's happening.
Who else is here?
We don't know. I find I sleep much better with the door locked.
How did you get here?
You found me. I love you so much.
That's not your wife. You're dreaming her.
It is a mistake to become emotionally engaged with them. You're being manipulated.
You don't know what you're in for.
I'm not the person I remember.
This is my chance to do it differently.
Go back. Go back to Earth. You'll die here.
I can't leave her.
We are not taking her with us.
She's alive.
It's not human, and I'm threatened by that.
You're gonna stop me from taking her back.
What's wrong?
This story and this character is something I've been interested in since I was a kid.
It was just something that I've always
remembered and always wanted to do, and I heard they were making a movie of it, and I was really excited by it.
It's a fantastic story. It's one of the most amazing sagas we have in the Marvel Universe.
Daredevil's about a lawyer who was blinded as a child. In this accident that blinded him, his other senses developed in an extraordinary way, almost like a radar.
Matt Murdock grows up after his father's murder and becomes a vigilante. He's a lawyer by day. At nighttime, he picks up as the vigilante Daredevil.
He tries cases, during the day and fights crime at night.
What do you want? Justice.
Matt Murdock meets this amazing woman.
Matt Murdock.
Nice to meet you.
I didn't get your name.
I didn't give it.
It's the first time in his life he feels like that's it. He thinks he found someone.
I was so into doing this role, particularly because there's Superman, there's Batman, but there are so few women out there that are their equals, and Elektra is one of them.
Does every guy have to go through all this? Find out your name?
You should try asking for my number.
Elektra is intrigued by Matt Murdock, just the fact that he's blind and he's hitting on her.
How am I gonna find you?
I'll find you.
They're soulmates. They found each other. Unfortunately, their alter egos hate each other because the woman who's in love with Matt Murdock also wants to kill Daredevil.
So on the one hand, they're lovers, and on the other hand, they're also adversaries, which made for an interesting dynamic, I think an unusual one.
Whenever you see me, it's something sinister going on. The character of the Kingpin, he is not afraid to take someone's life.
Kingpin just doesn't kill you. He kills your whole family.
Give me bullseye.
The devil is mine.
He's an assassin. He's a master with his hands. And with utilising pieces that he finds, whether it's a pen or a paper clip, he'll kill you from 40 yards by just throwing it your way. Hence, bullseye, 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 bullseye.
Was that really necessary?
Necessary? No. It was fun.
Wearing the wire rig sort of feels like you'll never be able to have children. It holds you up. You're holding your whole body weight essentially by your sort of waist and between your legs and your inner thighs, and it cinches you in there, and it cuts off circulation, and it's pretty unpleasant. But it's great because adoption is a route that I am okay with.
Sais are swords that are a big part of Elektra's mystique and Elektra's character, and I wanted to be as proficient with them as possible. I would give myself little drills to do in my backyard, and I would say, okay, 10 flips going forward, 10 flips going backwards, with the right hand, with the left hand, with both hands, with the right hand, and then figure eights, backwards, figure eights, backwards, and I would make myself do that every chance I had.
Jennifer was tough. She wants to do this dance, she can do it. She doesn't ever complain.
Ben and I were fighting with weapons when we were fighting on the rooftop. We bashed each other up a little bit. It was basically our hands that got it the worst, but it's all okay. There's still 10, and it was worth it.
What I love about this movie is that it doesn't go where people think it will. This is something that's a little harder, something that's a little cooler.
We were all having a ball. The fighting is a blast. We all were completely committed to it.
I'm really excited about how it looks and all the tricks and the flips and the fighting and stuff in the movie.
Don't.
The
following stunts were performed by professionals. So for your safety and the protection of those around you, Paramount Pictures and MTV Films insist that neither you nor your dumb little buddies attempt any of what you are about to see. Jackass, the movie.
This isn't gonna work.
It might.